Don't you just love video games? I surely do. They are what keeps us happy and free from the harsh realities the world throws at us. We could just let ourselves loose in our virtual worlds and explore what we wish given what we play. I know I personally can get lost in many titles, as well as feel a certain way about them. Sometimes, people can even become so into their games to where it becomes a part of their behavior. Or, I guess their lives. But, the great part of games is the large amount of variety. Why, you have your 2D side-scrollers, your FPSs, your RPGs, JRPGs, as well as which is also fun to play. I get very much involved in a lot of these said games, whether it's old or new, but one specific genre that has always been my favorite is obviously going to be... Ha, you thought I was gonna jump scare you again. Jokes aside, horror has always been my most favorite genre of gaming. The overall creepy feelings, the atmospheres they have, as well as the secrets you can find, as well as hunt down solutions. However, some horror games have been said to be haunted, but at the same time, there exists some games that have horror to it, yet the genre in itself is not horror. In fact, sometimes regular games can be proven to be scarier than normal horror genre games. Example, well, you may be familiar with haunted games, and yes, I am referencing the classic creepypasta gaming stories that I find to be very laughable, but entertaining regardless, like Sonic.exe or the Ben Drowned Tale. However, there seems to be games out there that hide a much darker tale and secret beneath it, or if it's even a real title to begin with. Today, I will be covering 5 games that I find to be very intriguing with their tales. You may be familiar with some of these titles on this list, but I will showcase them for those who aren't. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, and I hope you enjoy this video. Number 5. Taboo, The Sixth Sense.
This is perhaps one of developer Rare's least known titles. The NES 1989 fortune-telling tarot card simulator, Taboo, The Sixth Sense. It was the first game of its kind developed specifically for the American audience. Though many kids probably played the game during sleepovers with their friends, taking babies' first steps into the occult and giggling at the not-safe-for content of it all. And it being one of the few licensed games to feature nudity if you're lucky enough to draw one of the 3 cards showing breasts or behinds, since this game was technically directed at adults. As an adult nowadays, the game takes on a whole new level of creepiness with its creepy chiptune score, seizure-inducing card shuffling sequences, and cryptic broken English fortunes, presently influencing you as avoids changing or difficult situations. Plus, the cartridge comes packaged in purple pouch like a bottle of Crown Royal, so you know it's not to be messed with.
Number 4. LSD Dream Emulator. LSD Dream Emulator is an exploration game that puts you in a playable dream. The player explores surrealistic environments without any overarching goals. The game is played in levels, or dreams lasting up to 10 minutes. The player begins each dream in a random area in which they can begin exploring. By walking into any object or walking through certain tunnels, the player will be transported to another setting. LSD has a set of several static and defined environments to explore, including a Japanese village, a field, a city, houses, and a factory. While the environments are static, the default textures are sometimes swapped, and they may also be populated with random objects, animals, and characters roaming about to add variety. Each dream ends after 10 minutes, in which the character wakes up, or ends early if the player interacts with certain objects, or die. It is a rather strange title you can get lost in for hours, and it is overall a bizarre, colorful, and sometimes an unsettling experience. Number 3. Roly Poly's no Nana Korobuyoki. Roly Poly's no Nana Korobuyoki is an educational game developed by OSD and published by Shinko Music. Their goal with this abomination of a game was that they wanted to create a more light-hearted and family-friendly title in response to their often disturbing previous works. But, in my opinion, they failed pretty badly. The game was designed to help teach children English, and appears to be centered around a series of videos for every letter of the alphabet, as well as disturbing imagery of what appears to be colorful polygon creatures, and it having imagery that can induce seizures. This game was released only in Japan, and there was hope for a release in the US and Europe, but OSD was unable to find a publisher. However, there managed to be a sequel that was made, and it potentially may be just as unsettling. Number 2. Petscop.
Petscop is a horror and creepypasta web series released on YouTube made to resemble a Let's Play series. The videos follow the main character Paul exploring and documenting a supposedly long-lost PlayStation video game titled Petscop. Paul soon discovers that this game may be linked to his own past. At first glance, it looks like any poorly rendered mascot title from the 90s. Paul guides a blocky biped with a sickly-looking Vader-esque head through the gift flame, a land of lurid blocks, glistening gems, and boobs aplenty. It was a 24-episode series that ran from March 12, 2017 to September 2, 2019. And the series' popularity was largely cultivated by its coverage by several popular YouTubers and game theorists. Petscop, as a video game, is not a real title, although this was obscured for the entire run of the series. Some viewers were initially unsure as to whether Paul and Petscop were real, until far into the series when it became more surrealistic. Even some speculated it to be an ARG. Regardless, it is collaborative storytelling at its finest, where the puppet masters must give up their strings to their audience and an open source culture explores this collective fear.
And for number 1, we have the Nameless Game. The Nameless Game. It is a first-person survival horror video game developed by Epix and published by Square Enix for the Nintendo DS. The game follows a university student who becomes cursed by the titular role-playing game, which causes people to die in 7 days upon starting it. There involves 2 separate modes of play. Most of the game takes place in the real world, where the player navigates real-time 3D environments using the DS's D-pad and touchscreen. While exploring, the player must solve puzzles and reach locations, and the player can switch to the TS menu at any time, where they can play the cursed game, read email messages, and load a previous save file, as well as the game being an overall horror RPG. However, there happens to be an urban legend that has been circulating about a nameless, cursed role-playing video game for the fictional twin-screen handheld game system. According to the rumor, anybody who plays this cursed game and does not complete it within 7 days will die, same as what was stated within the game. And with that theory alone, can make the creep factor kick up a notch if you do happen to get your hands on this game. But would anything really happen in real life though if you played this? Who knows? But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory! I need friends. So, with that being said, these 5 games, as well as dozens I have not mentioned, but may mention in the future, is something fun to look into. But be careful, sometimes looking too deep into games with a mysterious background could probably make you see some stuff you wish you haven't. But regardless, I suggest putting safety first before head diving into something you aren't fully sure of. No need to catch any sort of viruses, Trojans, or accidental doxing in order for you to satisfy your own curiosity. But hey, at times we as people just can't help ourselves, because I sure as hell can't. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you all stay safe out there. Have yourselves a good morning, a good afternoon, and I hope you all have yourselves a good night.